Hey, good morning. I'm Fort Worth Playboy, and welcome to the Fort Worth Playboys morning show. And it is Friday, April 12th, 2024. And I have to put that out there. Bunny started laughing at me yesterday when I did the date because when you look at the thumbnail of these productions, they all look the same. So I have to figure out what the date is on this pretty quick. So, welcome to the morning show. What we do here is we cover those things that are tactical in manner as far as game, pickup, relationships, and sex. And we fall under the umbrella of the red pill, which is really like men's rights, intersexual dynamics, even MGTOW, and anything that deals with relational matters between men and women. But we try to stay in our lane, which is applicable, usable information that will help you move girls from complete strangers to in your bed and naked and having fun to men and women that have been married for 30 years and they want to keep the spark alive. But things that you can actually use. We don't do debate here. We don't really talk about, there's not a lot of gossip. It's all tactical, usable. We like to compare notes. Like a lot of our guys that jump in here are extremely successful with women, and they like to talk about what's working now. So that's what we try to disseminate is the information of what's working now, on the ground, on the apps, in the clubs, on the street, and in the social circle, what works, what doesn't, and how you can move women that you find attractive and desirable into your life, and then they can ride along. So we always start with a maxim through Chateau Hartiste, and today it's maxim number 12. Share that with you. The cumulative experience with hot women imbues the womanizer with a genuinely aloof aura that attracts even more women to him. Corollary to maxim 12. If you don't have an adequate amount of aloofness inducing experience with hot women, act like you do. There's really two, maybe three major things here. One is the momentum you get. Well, let me qualify this first. Experience with hot women. A woman only has to be hot to you. A lot of guys, you can work your way up. As your experience and your confidence builds, you can move your way up from like 6s to 6.5 to 7, 7.5, and then you'll start maybe hit an 8 every few months. That is important to know because a lot of guys, they kind of get down on themselves, are like, she's all right. And he can, as long as it's your value, like what you find attractive, that's all that matters. What's hot to you is all that matters. So don't let this be a sliding scale of like where you see like these guys picking up these Instagram models and guys going out with girls that make their money off of their looks alone. You don't have to compare yourself to that. And quite often, once you get the makeup off and get girls in the morning and you see them, they almost all look the same, and it's not always good. It's shocking over time how much different women look once you get the makeup off. You meet up with them and you pick them up in the morning, or they wake up in your bed and you're like, holy shit. So hot means hot to you. The cumulative experience. This is one of those things where we tell guys, once you kind of get game, and you kind of give off that air of a guy that's having sex regularly with a couple of girls, you become more relaxed. The way you carry yourself is more confident. A lot of this is unconscious or subconscious, just the way you move, because you're pretty satisfied. You're not desperate. It's like a sales guy who's been making a sale every 6 hours for the last 6 months. If he misses this one, that's okay. There's another guy coming in a few minutes. He'll sell him. And when you have that aura about about women, Women can pick up on that, and it makes you more attractive. It's kind of like in sales again. The sale you have to make, the one you is the one you will miss, because it'll come off. You'll have that desperation, that anxiety will come through in your presentation. And the same thing happens with women is, if you haven't had sex in a year or 2 years, and this is your only hope for it, it starts to build. Then you miss her. Then the next one comes along and you're like even more desperate. So the exact opposite is true too. When you are doing well, it imbues an aloof aura, because you're not that desperate for, if you miss with her, that's okay. There's another. It's, girls are like buses. There's another one coming every 10 minutes. So you have to keep that in mind, and you can fake it till you make it. I had to do this after I got divorced. I wasn't sure if anything would work, but you have to literally carry yourself like you just got out of bed with 2 women when you're meeting up with a new girl. You have to kind of like calm yourself down. If I miss, that's okay. There's another one. You know, the more relaxed you are, the more relaxed you'll come across. And again, you'll become genuinely aloof. And aloof doesn't mean disinterested. It means open either way. If she stays, great. If she leaves, great. Either way, I'm going to be fine. And even if you don't have experience, you can fake it. This is one of those things that guys, it's one of those, they get kind of, what'd you say, hung up on it. But almost everything that you become a master at, you have to fake expertise at it before you ever become an expert. I mean, it's just like, if you're playing a sport, you have to mentally imagine, you have to go to bat, you have to practice your swing over and over, and you have to believe that you can do this. You have to believe you can play pro ball. You have to believe that you can get through the minors. You have to believe you can play pro ball even when you're in the little leagues. You got to believe that, and your swing starts becoming more natural as you do it over and over. But you get better. You have to believe that you can connect with the ball. You have to believe that you can pick up this woman, and you will. So even if, and we always say this in our world, act as if, and over time, you will be doing exactly what you're imagining. The cumulative experience with hot women imbues the womanizer with a genuinely aloof aura that attracts even more women to him. Corollary to maxim number 12. If you don't have an adequate amount of aloofness-inducing experience with hot women, act like you do. It's just like one of the guys asked, he's running he's building up his rotation. He's at the very forefront of starting to have some success with women. He's in a transition period. Over here, he woke up in the morning. He had 2 good morning texts from 2 girls that he had went out with that week. And he also had 2 more dates in the next 2 days with 2 other women. He said, how do I not fuck this up? And I gave him like 6 points to be looking out for, but I had to encourage him and give him a heads up. When this thing starts happening, women are going to start having sex with you faster. They're going to start having sex with you on the first or second date. So don't be surprised. And they're going to shit test you less because you come pre-approved. That relaxed demeanor that all players, playboys, fuckboys, guys with experience with women, that relaxed demeanor they have around women of comfort, it just causes women to shit test them less. And there's no, is this guy good enough to bang? Well, obviously some girls are already banging him now. Therefore, he must be good enough. So things start happening faster, and then you actually start picking up momentum. And once you have the experience, nobody can take the experience away from you. Like Robert says, borrow confidence from your own future. Again, projection. Where will I be? And then you will be there. It's crazy. It's weird juju stuff. Some guys can't wrap their head around it, but that's okay. because the 80% that can use this, and you can apply it to your game, and you will become more successful more quickly, and then you'll have momentum. And that's even one of Royce's sayings, is he would say respect the momentum. And that's one of those things you have to you'll start seeing, like with game, even if you're online, it's almost like any sport. Like you'll have winning streaks, you'll have losing streaks, you'll hit singles, you'll hit a home run here or there. A lot of it is just everything comes in these big cycles. People come and go. So I'm going to go backwards a little bit, because some of the stuff I talk about teasing a lot this morning, but talking about logistics and timing, and it's in my book, How to Build Your Dating System, which helps guys. They kind of fuck up because they're like, I don't know what to do with it. They're trying to be creative, do different things with different girls, instead of just having a system that they plug the girl into and then improve on the system. So you being in front of her at the right place at the right time only matters with basic game running. You have to have some basics in the right place and the right time. Again, you can approach a girl and she just got engaged, so she's going to blow you. She's going to not be interested in your offer. So the same girl, 2 weeks after her boyfriend broke up with her, is going to be more open to your suggestion and will probably meet up with you simply to get out of the house. Good enough. So a lot of this stuff, guys take rejection personally, and it's really a matter of timing. It has no reflection on him, his game, his personality, his accomplishments, his demeanor, his musculature, his posture, none of that. It simply comes down to what is going on in her life at that time. So if you miss 99.9% of the time, it has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with you, and everything to do with where she's at mentally in her life. And especially even with girls, she might have had a bad morning, and so she's not taking any offers that day. A lot of it is right time, right place. Logistics matter too. Logistics can make or break you. Again, it's in my book, How to Build Your Dating System. Logistics can make or break you. Plan for the last venue to be as close to your place as possible. Within 5 minutes walking is ideal, if you can get that. The worst thing is if you have to get in your car, if she's got her car somewhere else too, and you guys have to drive separately to your place. What you want to keep her with you. Even a drive kind of slows things down. So the minimum, if you got a bar close to the house, a bar close to, or a restaurant that has a bar, someplace close. So your last place that you guys go is close to the house. That is a win. You give her plausible deniability. Hey, do you want to come see my guitar collection? Hey, would you like to come see my art collection? And yeah, sure. That gets her a reason, not sexual, to come back to your place so you guys can actually get some sex on. Logistics can make or break you. And so many guys don't think about this, or they think about it once they're out on the date and they're like, fuck, I'm 45 minutes away from the house. So, or they'll even like meet close and then they go somewhere else further out, and then another place further out. And then it's all the way back. And it takes a lot to kind of like keep the momentum. Again, respect the momentum. Logistics can make or break you. Having a plan, having a system that you can repeat and refine, and where you become kind of a regular at places, is a bonus. So few guys can walk into a restaurant or a club or a bar and they're like, hey, what's up? What's up? What's up, Mike? Every time you do that, you're basically like the mayor of your little city or your town or your area. And that's very rare today. Almost everybody in the city is anonymous. So when you walk in with her, and she'll be like, how many girls do you bring here? And you're like, hundreds, thousands, because that's good for you. You know, it makes girls are so used to going out with guys that are weak, inexperienced, don't know anyone, and are desperate. Whereas it takes them a little bit of time to catch up. They're with some guy that's different. When they're with you, this guy is out a lot. He meets a lot of people. He dates a lot of women, and he knows everybody, and everybody knows him. There's a sense of comfort there, and it's also like she's with a celebrity. And you guys know fame is like the number one aphrodisiac for women is a guy that's famous or a celebrity. It's fame is the ultimate game changer. You don't even have to have much game if you're famous to close on women constantly. So logistics can make or break you. Plan for the last venue to be as close to your place as possible. This one thing will catapult you. It will increase in your closes. And a lot of times, if you're not closing well, your logistics are just shit. You're great, you're doing everything right, but your logistics are bad. And so you have to keep that in mind. And if you plan ahead, like with my dating system, which is 20% off today, by the way, you will have more success with more women. And then just like the very first maxim, pretty soon you start having momentum because you're having success with hot women, and it just snowballs. It's just easier. Just having a plan for your date will put you ahead of 90% of other men. This is a simple thing. And again, it's in basic training. It's in how to build your dating system. But having a plan, because you would be surprised. And it shocks Bunny and I. We'll talk to women that are in their, and I say this because they're like in their 40s and they're dating men in their 40s and 50s who should know better. You know, when you're 16, 17, 18, you don't know unless somebody teaches you. And there's not a lot of hand-me-down information anymore. You don't know what you don't know. But guys that should know better, they're like at least been through one marriage, are showing up, and the girl's getting in the car and they're like, hey, what do you want to do? And it just doesn't work. I mean, it kills the entire date immediately, and it's all downhill from there. So having a plan for your date will put you ahead of 90% of it. You would be shocked at the number of men that you would think know how to meet, pick up women, move them from stranger to in their bed, and they don't have a fucking clue. And then they can't understand why they just kind of have to settle for scraps. So if you don't want to settle for scraps, you learn how to do this properly, and you have a plan, and you know your logistics, and you get your chooser where you're choosing yes girls, and basically you start plugging them into your system, and A plus B equals C. And you'll be surprised at how repeatable this system is. And this is where guys start going, yeah, I thought I was going to fuck myself to death. I was exhausted because all I was doing was meeting girls, and they're showing up in my apartment. So having a plan for your date will put you ahead of 90% of other men. Have a plan. Have a plan. Just any plan will put you ahead. If you get my dating system, it'll put you in the top 1% because it'll be a good experience for her, and it'll be smooth, and then you can repeat it, and then you can just start plugging the girls you find most attractive into your system and go out with confidence that this thing's going to come off well. Again, you got to remember, the girl wants you to be successful. You kind of owe it to her. If she's taken 4 hours to get ready, to come out and meet you or more, and she's bought new shoes, and she took off work early. Girls get excited about going out on a date with a guy the first time because they're hoping it's the last goddamn time they have to go out on a first date because they're sick of it. So they want you to be successful. And when you show up or they show up and you've got a plan and you move them from complete stranger to in your bed and naked, they appreciate that because you've done what you're supposed to do, which is lead them. And so having a plan for your date will put you ahead of 90% of other men. And if you don't close on the first, you'll 100% close on the second date using these systems. There's no third dates around here. I never made it to a third date, and nor does anybody that picks up this book. Girls hate making decisions. If she gets in the car and yes, again, like I was saying, if she gets in the car and you ask, so what do you want to do? It's over before it even starts. You can't recover from that. And so it's very important that you have a plan, know your logistics, and basically move her from complete stranger to in your bed and naked, and everybody wins. We've talked about this before. If you're a serious man who has trouble letting go of logical thinking and lightening up, a little bit of levity, temporarily, you're going to struggle with women. It doesn't mean it's impossible, just more challenging for you. And so who should we take out of this? I kept seeing the word autism in here, which there were a couple guys. There's always, out of 1,000 guys, you're going to have a certain number that are truly have a neurological or a physical manifestation per se. It's something that's diagnosable. One or two, and you take them out of this group because it's how they're wired to think. But you also have a large portion of 1,000 guys that are your engineers. They're just serious guys. They want to be taken serious. They're serious. Everything is serious. And these guys tend to struggle with women because women just want to have fun. And they don't if they get lucky, they'll get a girlfriend early that's like in high school or college, and she kind of keys in on him and she knows what she's dealing with. And a lot of times I would suggest her dad's like a serious guy. So she kind of watched her mom manage him. And so she knows how to manage this guy. But guys that are super serious and can't let it go, have no levity and no lightness, they struggle a lot with women because it's just this whole, they're wondering why it's not logical, why they can't just do what I want them to do. And they tend to fumble and they're in their own head, and then they don't respond to the girl. And it's one thing to respond slowly. It's another thing to not text her back for a week. They do things that they don't even realize. They do things wrong or inefficient that they don't even know. So if you're a serious guy, you're going to have trouble letting go of that logical thinking and lightening up, which is really what you have to do. It's like you have to suspend some of your IQ points when you're hanging out with this chick. Just knock it off by 10 or 20 points, kind of lower it down a little bit. So you're not struggling with women, because women are pretty light-minded. They just want to have fun. And even the most serious boss babe, when she's around a guy, doesn't want to be in charge of anything. They want you to be running the show. And what I try to tell guys that are serious is it's not impossible to meet and attract and seduce and bring women. It's not ever going to be your main hobby, but we can get you a girlfriend and we can get you a wife if we can get you to kind of lighten up a little bit and put just a few of these things into play, and learning to just learning how to kind of tease girls, high value stories, not taking what they say seriously, watching what they do instead of what they say. Because a lot of these guys do get super confused because girls are running girl game or shit testing them, and the guys don't know what's going on. They're just responding like Pavlovian, like a dog, and it's not going well. So and girls recognize these guys fast, and then they just kind of manipulate them. So if you're a serious guy, you're going to have to work a little bit harder on this stuff, but it's not impossible if you want to have women in your life or a woman in your life. So a lot of guys kind of push them out inadvertently. And we're probably going to wrap up here because It's Friday. It's 25 after. I've got a sale going on right now for 24 hours, 20% off of every book, bundle, or product I've ever put out. And for the VIP Evergreen membership, which is everything I've ever produced, some stuff that Bunny has produced, and everything I will ever publish after this for one flat price. And we also have a Discord group that's part of the membership for the Evergreen group, the VIP Evergreen group that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I try to check it every 24 hours so you can get your questions answered quickly and also through other guys that are a little bit more savvy in game are in the Discord group. But that way we can like exchange notes, what's working best, and get your questions answered quickly. All these things are for one flat price, and it's $100 off today. So you may want to check out if you're on the email list, it'll be in your email. If you're on the timeline, it'll be under sale, under a post on sale on my timeline. And if you want to grab something, or if you ever saw a book, you're like, shit, I'd like to get that, but it's just a little bit out of your reach, it's a little bit more affordable today. And it'll be affordable for the next 24 hours. We started this thing at 5 a.m. So if you guys like it, like this, let me know any questions you have. I'll be back on Monday morning at 7 a.m. And I hope you guys have a great weekend.